James Franklin's fired. We talked about that. So he's out.
So that sets up.
Yeah. So that sets up, many other jobs. There's going to be a domino effect because the candidates you're hearing right now are Matt Rhule.
All right, let's stop there.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point in the day, every opinion's already been shared on social media.
Yeah.
So I've spent very little time on social media today, but I have looked around and seen enough to where I know I'm not coming out with some hot scorching sports opinion here. But if you fire James Franklin to hire Matt Rhule, I don't know what in the F you are doing as an athletic director. I understand there's a connection there with Matt Rhule and the AD at Penn State. He was a player there, but he has done nothing to prove that he should be the guy to come step in and fill the shoes of James Franklin, in my opinion. And I say this as a Matt Rhule fan. I say this as somebody who covered him when he went from Temple to Baylor and watched him have to go through some of the most just stressful times in navigating the media circus that was surrounding the program, and then also trying to basically strip it down to build it back up and then do that. And then also every single season having, and non-Nebraska fans know this all too well, having constant coaching rumors surrounding him. So you never knew whether you could really build the house or if you needed to be a renter, right? To just be on the move for the Matt Rhule following. So I say all that because we go back with Matt Rhule several years. He's on this show twice a year, if not 3-4 times a year. But at least a couple times a year he joins us. So I say that as a fan of the guy, as somebody, I wouldn't say he's my friend. I couldn't just call him up, start small talking. But if we ran into each other, we'd dap each other up and have a good conversation and all of that. So I want him to do well. But when you tell me that you fired James Franklin just to turn around and hire Matt Rhule, I am puzzled by that. So I'm going to have to believe that Penn State is sitting there with multiple options that we're maybe just not aware of all of them, because if that's their top option, I'm just very confused by the entire situation.
Yeah. I'll say that now I do consider Matt a friend. But I think I know him a little bit better, just because I spent some more time. But yeah, I think he's a great coach. I also think he's in the right spot that he needs to be right now, because if you hire Matt Rhule, bottom line is he has he and James Franklin are the same kind of coach. Now, Matt Rhule's personality is probably a little bit easier to deal with, but
for sure.
But all coaches have their things. But the critique on James Franklin is that he has not won the big games. Well, Matt Rhule is 2-23 against the AP top 25. So you're not solving that problem necessarily by bringing him in. Now, would he win those games at Penn State? Maybe. But you're sending a guy who won 10 games a year out the door. You don't need a maybe, you need a yes. This guy can win those big games, and this guy's going to be different and get you over the hump. Now, he and Pat Kraft go back to Temple. They have an outstanding relationship together. Matt and Troy Dannon have a good relationship at Nebraska. We don't know where this is headed. This is the one job that I would think that would make him look up from Nebraska and go, because, again, he loves Penn State. He grew up loving Penn State. He went to Penn State. He walked on there. He's got skin in the game with that school in his life. But I personally think that, one, Penn State should leave that be, and that Nebraska and he are in a good spot right now. They're 5-1. They won a close game this week. They did all these things. He needs to keep that going. He needs to they play Ohio State again this year, right? He needs to try and win that game before he goes and tries to start winning big games at other schools.
Yeah, he's 5-1. Nice win over Cincinnati, there to start the year, and they've gotten off to a good start. But it was 3 weeks ago when he was an under 500 head coach at Nebraska.
Yeah.
So in this winning that they've done, he's now 2 games above 500 at Nebraska. So he's done a good job there, but I don't know. I think he's going to get another pay raise, which he's got a great agent. Right. And
USC's their next big one. But
okay, well, yeah. I think he'll get another pay bump, which his agents just got to love the the amount of times that he's been mentioned for jobs over the years and all the constant contractual upgrades that he's probably gotten as a result of that. So here's another one for him, most likely at worst, or it's another move. I mean, yeah, alum, played football there. I get why it makes sense. I'm not convinced that you made a better move by firing James Franklin to bring in Matt Rhule. I don't know that makes you, I don't think it makes you automatically better. I don't think it guarantees that you'll be any better. I think it's just as good of a chance you could be worse. Now you could say that that's every coaching hire out there. And that's true. So look, if Matt Rhule were to take that job, I'd wish him well. And I would imagine that he finally has to be at his dream job. Like, unless it's the New York Giants. But I mean, the guy gets mentioned for jobs more than any coach I've ever seen in my entire life. And he has had a propensity for kind of bouncing around, whether by choice or not. So would it be shocking to see him uproot and leave Lincoln for familiar Penn State? No. But I do think that he's got a really good situation in Lincoln, like you said. So I would assume he's going to stay there, but you never know with these types of things. So he is the interesting name right now, but I was expecting a lot more when that firing was announced. I was expecting to hear some bigger names. And the moment it was Matt Rhule as the leading candidate, I was like, well, that's just almost too predictable, right? Like, that's just too predictable, but it makes sense for all the reasons you mentioned. So yeah, Penn State and Matt Rhule is one to keep an eye on, but they've had less than 48 hours since the firing. So we'll see who else gets attached to that carousel rumor mill and who all they interview. But I would be really underwhelmed if I was a Penn State fan, unless I'm just a huge, like, we want our guys coaching our guys. Like, if you're that person, then yeah, Matt Rhule's awesome. But if you're somebody who's like, show me the results and show me why this is an upgrade, or this is the guy to get Penn State over the hump, I don't see reason to believe that right now, as much as I'm a fan of Matt Rhule.
Yeah, true. Okay, Curt Cignetti at Indiana is going to be thrown out there and has a lot.
I would hire him, and that would be a splash. Like, that would be a big splash for Penn State. Yeah.
No, I look, he's winning in Indiana. No, look, he may want to stay at Indiana. That's his program. That's his now. Like, you know,
right. And we should say that Matt Rhule, when he was
asked
about the job, he didn't say no. He
didn't say no when he was asked about jobs here.
Right.
That's not what he does.
No, because he's smart enough to know that his agent will go get him a pay raise at minimum. Yeah. And so, let everybody speculate and let you be the most attractive girl in town or whatever, right? The one that everybody's what are they going to do next? And enjoy that, I suppose. But I do think you have to be careful with how you handle that, man, because what if Penn State decides to go a different direction, or you start to lose games there at the end of the year, and then people wonder, well, is it because you're involved in this coaching search and all of that? But again, it's not something he's not used to. He's been involved in coaching rumor mills for most of his career now at this point. But he didn't deny it. He didn't say outright, like, no, I will be at Nebraska. So didn't necessarily expect him to, because that's typical coach speak protocol, but that was certainly interesting for the Nebraska fans, hoping they were going to tune in and hear him like stomping that out entirely. That was not the case at all.
Yeah, no. It wasn't.
All.
No. No. And look, Matt Rhule, he was, well, we went through it here when he was here. We asked him
every year.
We said
every offseason.
And look, we sat in New Orleans I remember at the hotel we were staying at, and he came and sat down with us, and he said, look, I'll tell you exactly what I told the team. And, because it was NFL jobs at that point. So, it doesn't benefit him to go up and go, oh, no. He gets like, all of it can be true. Like, look, I love Penn State. I love Nebraska. I mean, I'm not going to comment on the jobs as they come open. It doesn't do me any good. Like, the only people it helps are, like us for knowing. Like,
and who cares about us?
And then it could come back and sting him, and he's like, no. Like, you don't have to just blatantly lie. Like, you can just be like, look, these are how these things work.
Well, no, he clearly didn't. He said, I love Penn State. It's my alma mater. He said it in front of everybody, so he's not shying away from it or pretending like that storyline is not something to look and wonder about. So for him, it's good position to be in, where you're in a great spot. There also might be another great spot that you love more than anything that could be interested as well. So we'll see how that goes, but that's just one sliver of the Penn State search and the overall coaching carousel to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. So Curt Cignetti, there's other guys that may fit. Like they'll see the top 500 today. I threw Brian Kelly's name out there just because I think he's a better fit there than he is at LSU, and there's some tension there. And he, if he could skedaddle on up to Penn State, then, LSU gets to hire somebody. Everybody's kind of made whole. And that's if I think Curt Cignetti's going to be their top choice.